Good afternoon, Flosstube. My name is Mandy. Welcome to my channel, all about cross stitch. And we've got, okay, that's funny how hold up. Can you say hi? Say hi to all your friends. That would be Stitches. If you are new to my channel, welcome. Hope you enjoy what you see. Stick around for a while, hit the like, subscribe, all that good stuff. If you're a returning viewer, thank you for your support. It's been a minute since I've been here. I think it was like early August that I filmed. Last filmed. Where did September go? I have no clue. It's been a bit. I have absolutely still been stitching. I just haven't filmed. No particular reason. There's been stuff going on, but nothing in particular that would have stopped me from filming, I guess. Just honestly, there were some days that it's like I thought about doing it. It's like, I guess I'd rather just keep stitching. I don't know. Yeah. I've got an entire pile here of stuff to share. This is going to be a bit of a long one. I think that's also part of what's delayed me from filming again, is the fact that generally when I do film on Fridays, it is on my lunch break. I get a 60-minute lunch. In the month of August, I did, there was a Facebook challenge that did a Facebook challenge group that did a challenge for Arbitrary August. I think I talked a little bit about it in that last video, that I had to make a prompt for every day of the month, and then they randomly pulled numbers of that day, of your prompt of, prompt list of 31. They would pull a number and you'd have to stitch on that piece. So I've got a lot of my projects is really because of that, so there may not be a whole lot to show on some of those, like progress-wise, because I stitched, I don't know, maybe a couple hundred stitches, and then, moved on to something else for the day. So I knew that I would have a lot more to try to film to keep it in that 1 hour without rushing through. Okay, here's this piece, moving on quite quickly. So I was just like, well, maybe I'll do it after work. Well, 5 o'clock comes around. I like filming on Fridays for some reason. That's just kind of what's worked. Well, after, getting done working for the day, it's like, yeah, I'm ready to just relax on the couch. I have been I've really been binging a lot of the original CSI. You can definitely tell it was from a little bit of a different time. There's been some lines in a couple of different episodes. It's like, that didn't quite age so well, but overall, I love the show. It's kind of been a favorite of mine that I'll kind of keep going back to. So I've been watching that. I've actually been reading a lot. Maybe I'll talk about that a little bit later. But yeah, I've got some decent haul. That's gonna be fun. So let's just dive into it, shall we? Hope you've been doing well. Hope you've been, doing lots of stitching. I know there's lots of Flosstube, so I'm sure I haven't been, I'm sure people have got plenty of other Flosstubes to watch. So, a couple things to share that I don't actually have in hand, so I'm going to share some pictures. This was from an ATC swap, so artist trading card. I will show a couple of ones that I actually have, physically ones, but at the moment this is going to be just a picture. This was hosted from Heather, link is my homeboy. She's got a separate Instagram page of Stitchy, Swap, and ATC. Underscores are between each of those words. So this particular theme was summer, and here's my piece. This was so fun to stitch and put together, honestly. I know I didn't do a whole lot, but I thought it fit together pretty well. So this is a Darling and Whimsy piece that I adapted to fit because an ATC is 2.5 by 3.5 inches, and the finished design on the size count that I stitch wouldn't have fit in that parameter. So this was a Patreon gift chart that we had received at some point. I don't remember what one it was. She might have released it, might release it yet. I don't remember. It's a postage stamp though style, is the finished design. So summer, a lot of people spend summer on the water, especially in states such as Michigan, which is where I'm from. So part of the design, I stitched the boat and the little waves, and then there was a bird in the sun. Then there was like the postage stamp border, like squiggly line border, I think like the cent, you know, indicator type of thing. I had originally stitched it as one piece, small enough, but then when I found this paper in my ephemera stash, I knew that I needed most of that boat to be, you know, boat in the water and such to actually be seen. But I just thought it was so cute, the little bird, so he had to be included. So I just kind of fussy cut around and added it to that. So that one was fun. And then the one that I received in return, this was stitched by Teresa. She was Canada, I believe. Give me a cute little card. Ice cream does solve everything. And Teresa knows stitches, so I know she watches my channel. So thank you so much, Teresa. This is so fun. Look at that sparkly paper. Ice cream makes absolutely everything better. In fact, last night I went to dinner and on my way home I was like, I want dessert. Funny enough, I stopped, got dessert, or got ice cream, didn't have it for dessert, but I did buy ice cream. So Teresa said this was ice cream you scream from Frosted Pumpkin Stitchery, stitched on a 14 count Fortnite fabrics. So that is so cute. Love that sparkly paper behind. It's really textured too. So thank you so much, Teresa, for that. Love it. It's gonna go perfectly in my book. Back to my iPad to show a couple pictures. Heather reached out to me. She had some replacement cards that were needed where somebody, you know, life got in the way for whatever reason, was not able to follow through with sending their ATC cards or ATCs from previous swaps, and or they got lost in the mail for whatever reason. A couple people hadn't gotten their cards, and she asked if I would help do some replacements, and I said absolutely, I would be happy to. So for one of the previous ones was Birds of a Feather, I stitched a bird. So this was from I've shown the magazine previously. It was like basically all birds. I can see where it's sitting at the moment, but I can't read the title of it. If you're curious which book it was from, let me know and I can reply and comment. So it was, again, these are 2.5 by 3.5 inches, so that's how small the bird is. So I just cut it down, and then I found some pretty paper, and then those are just stickers. The actual birds in the background, the little chickadees, those are stickers. So I've got quite a collection of ephemera, lots of paper and stickers and all that good stuff, because I've gotten into the junk journaling and such. So I just thought they were all pretty. This next one was so fun. And you would have seen something similar to this earlier this year if you have watched all of my videos. Another replacement card that I had to send was for video games. And I already had the chart from stitching Mario from Super Mario Brothers earlier this year, that I decided to then stitch Luigi. And then I also stitched the little mushroom that when you catch it, it makes you the bigger size. This was so cute. In fact, I think this one got sent to, I just realized neither one have checked in that they received these. I know one of these was going over to the UK though, so maybe it's still winging its way overseas. But anyways, I stitched Luigi and the little life mushroom. It's the one that makes you the bigger one, not the extra life. Piece of yellow cardstock, and then I have mushroom, just random stickers that just to add to it to give the theme of. I remember using these stickers on my Mario one too. So, okay, that is all we need for the iPad at the moment. I do have a couple of other ATCs though. Laura from Stitching by the Shore, she had hosted one earlier in the summer that were elements of the earth. So that first, she split up the 4 elements into 2 separate swaps. So at the time it was air and water. And then now, if you check out our channel, if you want to join in, you still have some time to stitch something and get it sent out. As of today is Friday, October 3rd. I don't think I said that. You have to get things shipped out by next Friday, so check her channel if you want to join in for the other elements, the earth and fire. So these were part of the air and wind. So we got an adorable little chicken. So we got the weather vane. So this represents air or wind. You can see that that's sparkly. A little bit of a texture too, with some pretty paper in the background. And then also representing air, but the stitcher also combined it with a previous swap that Laura had hosted that was Where I'm From. And the stitcher said that it was air combined with the previous Where I Live. This is the Colorado State Insect, the Colorado Hair Streak Butterfly. That's some really pretty pattern paper. So thank you to Laura for hosting that swap. I am currently pulling stuff to stitch up a couple to send for the next one. Whips. New start. The first one is a new start, then everything else is whips. I don't have any finishes to share. Yeah, I do have a finish, but I can't share it. In the month of, we're in October now, in the month of September that I stitched but didn't film. While I still had a lot to share from August, I didn't have a whole lot of new stuff to share from what I was stitching in September. I went back through my notes to see what all I worked on in the month of September. Besides the model that I can't share, I stitched on 2 full coverage pieces, which I will share. Otherwise, everything else that I've got to share is from August. We'll talk about things. So the first thing that I'm going to share, I'm going to show the Etsy version that is available. The version I've stitched was gifted to me. Stitch North from 2024, I do believe. Deanna at Darling and Whimsy had gifted, there were some, like, for attendees to that retreat, she put a chart little, and I don't know if it was necessarily everyone got one, or if you could buy them. I want a giveaway from her after she attended the event, and so I got some of the freebie stuff that people got from there, so it was part of that package. So I'm not 100% sure, but there is a version of this chart that's available from Etsy, and that's what I wanted to share, because what I have is just the chart itself, not the there's no cover photo on that, and I don't want to show the chart. But this is the version that is currently available from Etsy. So it's Wild Whimsy and Bear, because there's a few different Wild Whimsy animals out there, and so this is the bear version. So the version I have has a completely different border, but the inside portion I believe is the same. And honestly, all you're gonna see is the border. Which way is the correct way? This way. It is, of course, my apartment faces west. It's, okay, I was gonna pause that and thought I was hitting different buttons, and apparently I didn't push any button. So anyways, sun is really shining in here, so it might end up making some things a little fun. Because yeah, there's a lot of color coming in, a lot of light. So it's kind of a minty green. All I have is the border, so a little bit of the border, that's not even half of the border around. This is literally one length of floss. This was from the arbitrary August. One of my prompts was a new start. I literally stitched enough to make it for the challenge. So like I said, that's border is completely different. The one that's available has, you know, little motifs. So mine is just going to be this line all around it with the bear in the middle of it. This was a scrap. I'm not sure. I know the floss is brand and needle. I don't know where the fabric came from. It all came together as one. So that is my one new start that I can share. Before this gets lost, because I haven't really put it into much of a project bag, just so. Okay. Moving on to whips. Why is this not? There it is. Of course, now the sun's gonna be coming in my ass too. So this next piece that I'm gonna share is Elegant Lace. Works by ABC. I am using I think it's a Silks For You hank of, like, I have a hank of silk rather. Oh my gosh, I love this material. I know I've waxed on about it before. The Wild Blossom, I think it's called. It was a Bestitch Me Fabric of the Month earlier this summer. Oh, I did not take into account the way the blinds are. Hold on one second. Okay. Hopefully I did that right. We also got Stitch's dinner while I was paused for a second. Okay. Let's try this again. Like I said, it's using a Silks For You. I have no clue what the number is. It's a really pretty purple. I picked it up for that arbitrary challenge, and I know I just put in a couple links within that flower. But look at the detail that's coming out in that flower. So this is going to be a long project, especially when I only work on it for a couple hundred stitches at a time. Huh? Alrighty. Moving on. Moving on up. Speaking of singing, since I'm so poorly at it, I'm going to move the camera just slightly for a second, just to see the calendar. You know, I read it before I started, and now I can't remember what it is. Ain't Nothing But a G Thing. That's what it was. Ain't Nothing But a G Thing, baby. August was too legit to quit. I know Carolyn likes to see the calendar and is always curious on what it is, so I had to try to remember to talk about it this time. This next piece, again, it was a challenge. I really only put in 100 stitches in it. There were some of these pieces that I had so many intentions of going back to working on it so I can, you know, actually have something more substantial to show, and I didn't. Astronomer's Gate. This was from Whispered by the Wind. I haven't worked on this at all this year. This was my first time working on it this year. I started it last year. This is the cover photo of what it looks like. If you were with me when I started this was a pattern that I found in my stash. Totally didn't even remember having it. It's like, I need to stitch that. So I started it. It's on a gray. I don't remember what it is. Gray Magic, maybe? It's a Bestitch Me. Again, if you're curious, let me know. I'll look it up. Oh, we are still fighting the light. I just brought the gate down a little bit more. There's gonna be a whole bunch of back stitching in the center of there, but I did get all of those moon phases stitched in, and then bring in the gate down, edges down a little bit. So again, maybe about 100 stitches, a little more than 100 maybe. Look at the details of that moon though, looking so good. Again, another piece that I really wanted to get back to and just didn't. Oh, this next piece, moving along pretty good. Did I just say that? This was the piece that I started for my birthday this year. In a World Full of Princesses, Be a Witch. Luthien Art Shop. I did look on Etsy back when I started this. It is still available. Again, it's Luthien Art. If you are on the Etsy page, it's got one of those long names where it's got all kinds of different words and such in it. I think it's under Witchy Wisdom though, is I think what it was called. But again, it was one of those Etsy titles that has like a whole bunch of words to it. This is stitched on just a really pale neutral. It was in a box and it's losing all kinds of threads. Fiber on a Whim, maybe? I want to say this is something about Gilmore from Gilmore Girls. Something about Lorelai Gilmore, maybe? It's literally just a pale neutral. Kind of a cream. When I worked on it, I know I only added in some of the green, but if I remember right, I think that whole corner, yeah, that whole corner molding thing is done. So top left, I did not add any of the purple yet. I'm using called for DMCs. There's a couple yellows that I changed, a couple colors that I changed just because of fabric color choice that I wanted to make sure that they popped on. But otherwise that is called for colors. So that is my Luthien Art, Be a Witch. Well, like I said, I think Witchy Wisdom is what it's called. Next piece, a favorite that I need to really spend some solid time on it and just bust this thing out. Northern Expressions Needleworks Twisted Rainbow Sampler. Now this one is available in both specialty stitch version and a full cross stitched version. I'm doing just the regular cross stitch one. So just all solid X's. If I had this to redo, which I'm not, I would have chosen a completely different fabric. I didn't want solid black, but honestly, Witchelt fabric sucks. So this is stitched on a piece of 16 count Witchelt in Midnight Gray, I think it's called. So, I mean, I've got up to this green is all done. So I've got blues into the purples and that to do. So what I worked on last time would have been just add, I think, maybe some of the brighter blue into, you can't even see that with my light. There's two different shades of blue there. Now you can see, I guess, right in the sun. There's two different shades of blue there, so I would have worked on, I know I worked on adding some of this blue here. So that is my Twisted Rainbow. This was a new start, new year, new start. I want to say, gosh, 22 or 23. One of those. So that piece, maybe that was 22 and this was 23 maybe. Cottage Garden Samplings. This is one of the Songbirds Garden Series, number 5. We've got Bluebird of Happiness. This is stitched on a piece of 18 count Bestitch Me. I want to say it's in Punch, the color Punch, which I do believe I got as a fabric of the month later. Like this one was an original one that I would have received. I had purchased a, I want to say it was like a beach theme box or something years ago. And then I feel like there was a fabric of the month that came in, also named Punch, but definitely looking significant different from this. So this is kind of an older version. Again, that's arbitrary challenge. I think I only put in 100 stitches or 2, so I think I'm just really bringing some of these flowers down. There's so many of those flowers to do. So that is my bluebird of happiness. Maybe if I can spend, again, more than 100 stitches at a time. Theme of the day, I guess. This next piece needs to be finished because I'm so close. Fall Black Cat from Stitchin' Needs. So, yeah. So I really have just a couple of leaves here to finish. I've got like 1,000 stitches left to do on this. If I actually focus on this, maybe I can get it finished. In fact, I might have actually started this for Laura Stitching by the Shore's Pumpkin Birthday Challenge. If it wasn't started for that, I could absolutely finish it for her in honor of her birthday. Happy birthday month, Laura. Here we go. It was so exciting to get this cat done. So I know for the challenge, I want to say I finished out the cat tail and then added in one of the leaves. So I still have another leaf or 2 to add here, and then some other pieces right in here. And then I will do the whiskers. Those are going to be last because they're long stitches. 16 count picture this plus, I want to say in like a color Regency or something. As you can see here, and I've mentioned it before, UFO project that I still haven't cut off or anything, but it's fitting perfectly in the frame, so it won't be cut down until I'm ready to frame it. But yes, that needle minder is probably one of my favorite needle minders. Stay tuned because I've got a lot of those to show. I've been doing some shopping. I know this one came out for the challenge a couple of times, and the desire I could have to just keep stitching on this. This is October 31, another Cottage Garden Samplings. This was from the series A Time for All Seasons, number 10. I do remember working on this one. One of my prompts was to work on a piece from a season, and then I remembered that this one was from a season. Again, I could still work on it for Laura's pumpkin birthday. I want to say this is on a color in cotton, especially given the cut of it, but I don't remember what the color name of the piece is. I want to say I worked on it a couple of different times, and so I know I brought the border over and down a little bit. So that border was going pretty quick. Well, I would have done the star too, so. But yeah, that is my October 31. Again, something that I could just keep stitching on. Good month too as well, October. That would have been an October 31 start last year. I remember trying to figure out like when I pulled it out when I would have actually started the piece. Makes sense that I started it on October 31st last year. I didn't remember that was when I actually started it. Alrighty. Couple different projects to share on this particular piece. One of which, so this is from Witch's Garden Crafts. I got this back in 2022 from her. It was a gift chart that she had given at the time. I know it was a mid-year election gift chart that when you like sent her a hey I voted sticker picture type thing, then she gifted the chart. I do believe that after I had ended up posting about it or something, she ended up adding it to a Facebook group. So yeah, again, if you're curious what Facebook group, let me know. So never give away your power. I definitely stitched some feelings into this back in November. I did a complete conversion to overdyed flosses with this one. Bestitch Me 16 count sandstone, maybe. It's a piece of material that I've cut. Stitched a project out of previously and then cut that one out of. So I don't remember the fabric of this. It's a pretty neutral. But the conversion that I did is not exactly a one-to-one type thing. So it called for 3 different oranges. I have a really pretty color in cotton orange floss, maybe called tangerine, that I just subbed 1 variegated floss for 3 oranges. You know, some things of that nature. So it's all just a conversion of my own that I did to over-dyed flosses that I have on hand. So, I know I worked on the flowers top and bottom and a little bit of that border there. And then the other piece that's on this material from Shaded Stitchery. This is Closely Kept number 3. There it is. Couldn't find the picture. So this is what it was, the like cover photo. I am using a Pirate and Robin floss in Belladonna, I do believe. So it's 1 floss color that's just really highly variegated. So I'm working from the bottom up, so that's the bottom middle. There you go, you can really tell. So it's like a super dark blue, kind of like that 939 super dark navy into like a 996 type of blue shade. That ballpark, I guess. The chart went perfectly into Pattern Keeper, so I'm like a little more than 25% done, I think. I do remember picking this up for a challenge. In fact, I can tell where I had some stitches done, where I did a little loop-de-loop up here. Was realizing something wasn't lining up right, so I had to go and frog and then restitch, and then I never did restitch. I think I went elsewhere when I was restitching. So, but that is my Closely Kept number 3. Moving along. Oh, excuse me. Why am I not finding this picture? There it is. This is Apothecary Shop from the Witchy Stitcher. Mine is going to look absolutely nothing like that in terms of fabric color. I love the design, I just didn't want to do it on a neutral. And there we go. This is stitched on a 16 count bestitch meat in the color It's a Mystery. So I really just worked there in the middle of the words, so like finishing up or did the TH and then started on the E. This is all stitched in DMC 310. I do have the outside border completely done. I remember it being off a stitch somewhere, but I was not frogging to go in and add, so sign might not be quite as wide, but if you can notice one stitch being different by 1 stitch, then you may need a different hobby than stitching. But this is my Apothecary Shop. Oh, I do not have the current cover photo of this one handy. And that's gonna... Oh, that's not where I wanted to go either. Apparently I don't have this one handy. Stitch for Pride. I am absolutely nowhere near caught up with this thing. Love the design, I just did not keep up with it like I thought I was. So I am currently working on April. I don't remember how to pronounce this person's name, and I do not want to butcher it. I'm not even seeing what the name was. Zawandib is who this is honoring, if I pronounce that right. So without going into all of the files, here's what it's gonna look like. But I am stitching it vertically as part of the layout of the whole piece. It's still on the Q-snap. I still have a thread hanging. Well, I moved the thread to the back, but I know I'm using a coloring cotton floss. I don't even have that handy at the moment. I will share more details on that for sure when I get it stitched up. So, a Zawandib, I believe is how that was pronounced. 16 count bestitch me in Stonehenge. Funny how I can remember some fabrics, other ones I hate them. Moving along. Oh goodness. Excuse me. What am I looking for? We know her. We love her. We want her done, but I haven't focused on it long enough. Lady Halloween from Jardin Privé. Oh, I can just picture Laura's stitching by the shore. Her finish. Oh, it was so good. She did such an amazing job with that piece. I believe I stitched this on a piece of Bestitch Me Rainy Day. I know there's like some purple tones coming out into it. I love that. It looks like it's all done in one color, but I did add some DMC 154 to it. What I would have stitched on it would have just been adding some of the flowers right in here. There we go. Now you can see where that color is at. So anywhere there's a flower on the piece, I'm adding that 154. Oh, it looks so good. I know I kind of explain this every time, but it is charted in 3 shades of color, so black and then 2 shades of gray. There's notes in there on how to make it a monochromatic piece. So I decided I wanted this 154 to add to it as some, I thought of it as pops of color, but honestly it's really blending in so much with the black, which is funny to say, purple blending in with black. But I know when I hold it up, it doesn't really look purple. But I'm loving the effect of what it's looking like in the end. So it's not even necessarily, I can say one particular symbol is the 154. Basically, it's the flowers. Reason I say it can't be I can't really say that it's 1-to-1 is because these little pinwheel type flowers, I don't have the same, I didn't always start the black in the same spot so that they're all black and the same with purple. I just added purple. Like, see how you can see a pinwheel of kind of rotating of the colors? Those are going to be different from one to another. But that is where I'm at with my Jardin Privé. And the next piece, again, I want to get back to it, and I've actually got some ideas in mind for the finished. We just gotta get there. Package is ready to ship. Oh, yeah. Gotta love those notifications that come in. This is the 4th wing. No. It's listed as Empyrean Sal from Forbidden Fabric. I got the kit, so I am using the called for colors and the floss. So this is what it's going to look like in the end. It was dropped weekly. It was a stitch along that was, parts were dropped each week. It's long been done. I am far from being done. Oh, but it's looking so good. So when I picked it up, I know I did a couple of the daggers and then Rider's Quadrant with the line. So, oh, actually, I think I might have finished the dragon too. So the dragon is modeled after Sigale, which is Zayden's dragon. There is going to be some long backstitching. The long backstitching I'm good with doing throughout, but when it's the longer back stitches, I tend to like to wait to keep those to last, like the fall black cat with the whiskers, just in case I don't want the Q-snap to like snag the longer stitches. So I still have those left to do. This is stitched on a piece of 18 count Forbidden Fiber Co. in Feathertail. Stitches was in the blinds. They're a vertical blind, so she was laying on the floor by the patio. So that is my Empyrean Sal. All right, we ready for some full coverage? Because I got a couple. So at the rate that I'm going, I honestly guess I could have done this on a lunch break, but oh well. Okay, this next piece. We're gonna show this in a couple different pictures before I get to the final piece. Because I'm not taking this off my Q-snap. I am too far along for where I'm at. Why do I feel like that's not focus? If you follow me on Instagram, you would have seen this from there. But this is my focus on a finish full coverage piece. Not 100% sure it's going to be finished this year. But I figure I'm just under 30,000 stitches to go at this point. So the other day when I hit the 30,000 remaining and like to try to get this finished by Christmas was going to be like 330 some stitches a day needing to be done to get it by then. There may have been 1 or 2 days that I actually hit that number of stitches. So it's just getting added more. You know, Saturdays and Sundays type of thing that I may actually be able to get more than 300 stitches in a day if I focus long enough. I don't want to push myself because I don't want to get burnout on the piece. And I figure at this point, if it gets done, great. If it doesn't, I'll just finish it up in January probably. And my mom will just get it then. She knows about it. It's not like it's a secret. It's not like it's a gift that, you know, I don't have a deadline. I just told her I was going to actually focus on it this year. So we'll see if we can get there. We are talking about, oh, there we go. Sorry about the flipping around now. This is the mini version of Sea Opal the artwork is from Elizabeth Welker, charted by Heaven and Earth. I did see the other day a picture of, what's her name? Darling and Bluebell? I don't remember her name. She's doing, I think it's the super size max color version. It looks incredible, super size like that. I don't have a place, well, even my mom wouldn't have a place to, because I'm stitching this, well, I just said that. I can't imagine the cost of what that's going to be to frame it, honestly. But like I said, I'm doing the mini version. So this is, I'm going to show a picture of what it was like last time because I got a double page finish and had to move the Q-snap. So this is pages 11 and 16. So the bottom, and this is the lower left corner. So this is now three corners ready to meet up. So page 16, so the bottom row is maybe 20 stitches tall, if that. I don't remember how many. It's a tight squeeze, but I can fit, I use an 11-inch Q-snap. I'm stitching this on 16 count. So in that 11-inch Q-snap, like I said, it's a bit of a tight squeeze, but height-wise, I am able to fit both pages into the Q-snap at once. So I was able to work at the same time. I didn't just stop because, you know, I was able to do the whole thing. So I have page 12, 13, and 14 are your normal full-size Heaven and Earth pages with just the 2 columns overlap. Columns, rows, whatever. So then there's one more, so what did I say? 12, 13, and 14. So page 15 is just like 9 stitches wide, and then 17 through 20. So it's 3 partial pages and then 5 partial pages left to go. And it's just shy of 30,000 stitches remaining, because I just hit 30,000 the other way. Remaining. Just worked on this last night, so of course, we've got a thread hanging. And here we go. So it's not looking like much on the Q-snap at the moment. I pick a symbol, I stitch as much as I can, you know, all that kind of stuff. So I'm all over the place. But this piece has been such a gem to work on. No pun intended, I guess. Opal gem. When I sent my mom the updated picture the other day, she asked me, "Are you sure that I'm going to get this in the end?" Yes, Mom, you will get it. But there's an agreement that there will come a day where I will get it back after she passes. So there's a running joke in the family. Again, Gilmore Girls reference here. There's a reference, if you know the show at all, know the characters. Emily, the grandma, when Lorelai and Rory go over for like a Friday night dinner, she gives them Post-it notes, and she says, go around the house, put a Post-it note on anything that you want to claim when the day comes, kind of thing. So there's a running joke in the family that, with my sister and my mom, that our sticky notes are on things. So in that conversation where she says, you know, are you sure that I'm going to get this someday? I said, yes, yes, you're going to get it. We're going to stitching it for you, but there's a virtual sticky note on it at the moment. She says, well, we can put an actual sticky note. So it got me to thinking. I remember, gosh, was it, I don't remember now who it was, that one of the, I know there's a cross-stitch designer that came out with, you know, accoutrement stuff, that there's stickers that you put on the back of projects, you know, to give the details of it or whatever. I remember one of those designers coming out with ones that were basically like have skull and crossbones type of, you know, skeletons on it or whatever, of basically saying, I give this to such and such upon my death, kind of thing. So it'd be funny if I can get my hands on those stickers and, you know, we can put on the back of that piece. We got 30,000 stitches to go before we worry about who's getting the piece when it's done. All right, we are down to my last whip. Are you still with me? Okay, so couple things to go over about this one. We are working on the mini version of Which Way, charted by Molly Harrison. I got it right on that first try. I keep mixing her name up with somebody else. Molly Harrison. Right. Again, I'm stitching the mini version. It's charted by Hayde. In fact, there was another picture I wanted to share. So, reason I'm stitching on this, besides the fact that it's Halloween and who doesn't want to stitch on witches. Where is that picture at? Kim from Stitching But Spartan Stitcher, Kim Hollenbeck. She is the organizer, admin of Full Coverage Fanatics. Bear with me while I'm looking at my iPad. I'm trying to find a picture. She came up with an idea, and it ended up turning into a challenge in Full Coverage Fanatics. People wanting to participate as well. gridiron grind. I know other people have talked about it. So basically Kim was coming up with her own goals of how to stitch for your football team. She's stitching for the Lions. I'm stitching for Green Bay Packers. If you know me at all, well, in fact, I am a cheesehead. I remember years ago at Christmas time, there was a commercial. I've always kind of talked about, I bleed green and gold, you know, that's my team. I remember there was a ad like around Christmas time or whatever, of someone opening a package and they get a paper cut and they bleed green and gold. It's like, hey, that's I've talked about that for years. So anyways, Kim came up with ideas of stitching this for that, and I don't remember now what all goals that she came out with. I know she's got a non-full coverage piece that she's stitching the basically for the score based off of the opponents that play the Lions. So for myself, so I'm using this piece for that. This was my starting place when I picked it up. So I still have a partial page. In fact, I think it's 2 pages here. If I remember right, there's a small page here again. So partial page left to finish. I started the piece because I've already stitched for 2 games starting on the 3rd. No, 3 games. So I started it at 54%. I am now sitting at 57%. And I forgot to mention my Sea Opal. I am now currently at 72%, I believe. I looked recently I looked recently at my notes to see where Sea Opal was sitting at my last video, and now I don't remember now where it was at. I know I got a lot done since I would have shown it last, so including the double page finishes. Anyways, for my gridiron grind, I've got all kinds of notes here. So yeah, I started it with 42,000 stitches remaining. No, that was how many had already been done out of the whole piece. I don't remember how many are remaining. So for each game, I am going to stitch the Packers' final score times 10 with a caveat. If they end the game with having scored 3 points, I don't want to just do 30 stitches. So we're doing the final score times 10 with a caveat of doing a minimum of 100 stitches in the event that was that single digit score. If they win, I'm adding 100 stitches to that. So doing the score times 10 plus 100 stitches if they win. Should they lose, which they did, I'm adding 200 stitches kind of as a penalty for losing the game. I didn't think to take it into account except for last weekend's game ended in a tie. So it's like, how can I do well, they didn't win, they didn't lose. So I'm splitting the difference of that. So 150 stitches adding to it in the event of a tie. So 100 stitches if they win, 200 if they lose, 150 in the event of a tie. Didn't expect that. Plus I'm doing a number of stitches for the number of passing yards. So instance, week 1 was against the Lions. They won 27. So I'm not doing anything for the opponent's side of things. I'm just doing it based off of the Packers numbers. So instance, first week they finished with a score of 27 points. Turned that into 270 stitches. They had so they won that game. So 270 stitches for the score, 370 for the win. Plus they had 188 passing yards. So I needed 558 stitches for the week to meet that goal. So like I said, I'm week 4 was last weekend. I have not finished that one yet. Packers have a bye week this week, so they're not playing at all. So after the tie score, high score, all that kind of stuff, I need 870 stitches for week 4, so I'm not worried about the fact that I haven't gotten them done yet because Packers aren't playing this weekend. We'll just worry about getting it done by the next week. But I did pick this up today, actually. So I have a little more than 100 stitches into that 800 that I need. So it's on the Q-snap now. I'm not pulling it off again. But I have now finished out, I finished one color today. And then the last week or two I finished out, I think I'm down 7 colors now, are now at 0 with the pattern. So out of the 60 some, this one might have the 80 some colors like they usually have. I don't remember. But with this challenge, I am absolutely going to get this page finished in no time. I did start the cat, so that was so exciting to get to. There's going to be 5,000 stitches of black remaining in this piece yet. But just to show the picture again, I now have started on the cat head. So we got stitches coming in. So it looks funny, just a blob of black at the moment, but I have no doubt that the detail will kind of fall into place once I get things stitched and you're looking at it from a distance. Because what's funny is that her arm, she's got a tattoo on her arm, and when I was stitching it's like, okay, this is just kind of a blob of colors, you know, on that skin tone. But I think, again, full coverage projects are meant to be seen from a distance. You know, when you're working on it, things are going to look like a blob. They're going to look weird. They're just going to, you know, not look right. If you're thinking something's not really looking right, take a step back, look at it from a bit of a distance. Things tend to fall into place when you look at it from a bit of a distance. So, but yeah, it was, I can see it now. To me, it's looking a little more clearly that you can see a moon in her tattoo. So I have no doubt that the cat will look more than just a black blob once it gets stitched in. So but I've got a little bit of stitches left there to do. Otherwise, like, from there up is done. That whole pumpkin is done. That one's got a couple stitches left to do. But yeah, 16 count white Ada, both this and sea opal. 16 count, 2 strands, full cross. What we're working at. So my plan already, because this thing is sitting at, what I say, I think I said a little bit ago, 57 stitches, 57%. Goodness, I can't talk today. You know, if I'm getting 500 to 800 stitches a week with the gridiron grind, it's not going to take long that this thing's we're going to get some stitches put into this thing. As of right now, I am planning on this being my focus on a finish for what's next year, 2026. I giggle over the fact that I don't think it's going to take a whole lot to finish. Being already at 57%, and I still, you know. So at this point, if I don't finish sea opal this year, so I finish it, say, January, I don't see this getting finished by the end of the football season, American football season in January, February, if they make it that far. I don't see it necessarily being finished by football season end, but I don't see it taking a whole lot longer past that, you know, to be able to get this focus finished next year. This is the piece that anytime I pick it up, I just want to stitch on it until it's done. I'm not there yet on sea opal. I've gotten there with other projects that, you know, like the last couple of years I've done focus on and finish pieces. I've gotten there with other projects where it's like, I just gotta keep stitching on this. I can't put it down. Not quite there yet on sea opal, but that's okay. Non-stitching related for a second, because they're right here and they're about to fall. If you've ever heard of post crossing, so it's a website, postcrossing.com. You make a profile, you sign up. It's sending postcards around the world. You sign up, you say, hey, I want to send a postcard. They give you an address. you send them a card. There's a code that you write on the card that when you receive a card, you have to report that number onto the website. So then at that point, once you report that you received a card, let's see, how does that work? That person that sent it now gets put on the list to receive a card. So you send a card, you've got a code, the person you send it to writes, puts that, reports that they received that card. Now you're on the list to receive a card. That's what it is. So I finally got a couple. I'd sent some out mid-August, and I was like, man, it's taken a while for me to actually get anything. I wonder if things got lost in the mail, or, did I throw something away with junk mail not realizing it? 2 days back to back, I got 3 cards. So you make a profile, kind of some things that you're into or whatever. I, of course, mentioned stitches because when do I not? So I thought this one was really cute. This one came all the way from Taiwan. So that one was really cute. And then another one that I got, this one came from Germany, I do believe, that I had to share. It's so cute. So I had to Google this writing because I don't know if it's going to show up, but there we go. I had to Google that because I can't speak this other language. Roughly translates to "today you are the king," which no kings, but I thought that was funny that, it's fitting. Birthday, different way of saying happy birthday. You're a king. That's the kings I'm into, for the record. Haul. We got some stuff to share. So the only reason I had to share this is just because the packaging I think is funny. It's a vacuum seal pack of bobbins. I get my floss bobbins from Amazon usually just because it's cheap. Just your little plastic bobbins. The store that I normally get them from, they weren't available, so I, just went into the search to find another seller, and I had never seen them come in a vacuum sealed pack like this. Luckily, the I don't know what this was from. Underneath this stack of projects, the Bestitch Me fabric of the month now comes in Ziploc bags. I don't remember where this one came from. It was just sitting here. But once I open this, those are going to go into another bag. I just had to show how funny that was. 400 count, I think, maybe. Speaking of Bestitch Me, let's go there first. August fabric of the month, because it's been that long. So it's called Jack-o'-lantern. I am not worried about giving you hints because I'm sure people have shown it by now. And thankfully that sun has dropped now, so it's not too bright in here. Just exactly what you would think Jack-o'-lantern to look like. It's bold. It's a highlighter. It is highlighter orange. It is definitely that bright. No clue what I'm going to put on that. And then September, again, I'm sure you would have already seen it by now. September morning. And it is this beautiful pale purple. Yeah, it's a light purple. That's pretty. Again, no idea what I'm going to put on it. Plans though, before I get too far, because I don't usually have much of a plan, but I know that Laura from Stitching by the Shore has talked about it. For her October plans, she is wanting to start a Yasmin's Made with Love chart, and is inviting people, anybody, if you've got a Yasmin chart, to join in. I think it might just be called All Hallows Eve. I've had this for a little bit, I just haven't started it yet. Here's what the mock-up is going to look like, just because it's what I got handy. It's the Pattern Keeper mock-up. So this is my planned start, because I already have it. I'm planning on 154. I have a thing for that 154, that super, super dark purple. So I'm kind of thinking maybe a gray fabric. That's my intentions at the moment. So I know Laura did her recap video of her pumpkin stitching birthday video that she showed her previous finishes, current projects, some planned starts. So it was in there that I think she was talking about that, planning on doing a new start for that, but wasn't sure when. Laura, if you're seeing this, and I still have your video today to watch yet, so maybe you're mentioning there, I would love to know when you're planning on starting. I want to hop on and join that. Okay, ephemera here. Darling and Whimsy, I am part of her Patreon, so I am on the quarterly gift club, gift tier. So last couple months she's been sending us pieces of ephemera for our journals. So we've got a cute little unicorn. One of the quirky Quakers that I need to stitch yet, Cauldron. And then, so this is kind of like so I showed the bear, the Wild Whimsy bear. So she also did that as a bat. There you go. You can see the border a little bit. She got it turned into a sticker, and so hologram. And then just some little pieces of ephemera here. Something from Amsterdam. Cute little tag. Looks like a prescription. Something about a druggist. And another one from a drugstore. And we've got this. It's a black cat and a pumpkin. So I have got my stitching journal I haven't done anything with in forever. So I've got that to work on again one of these years, that maybe I will add some of that to that. Okay, so this next batch of we got some needle minders to share here. This is 2 orders worth of needle minders in the past however long it's been since I've filmed last. Gina from so it's Gina's Unique Needle Minders on Facebook. Every few weeks or so she posts a bunch, like on a Saturday she'll post a bunch of pictures of needle minders that she has available. You comment me please, she sends you a PayPal invoice. So this would have been a couple orders worth of those. She also does have an Etsy shop. I believe it's Gina's Unique Boutique on Etsy, but I'm pretty sure it's different stuff. Like it's not gonna be necessarily the same. But these were all from the Facebook shopping. Remember, this is 2 different orders worth. Look at this adorable little cat. I mean, how could I not? It's cute. So I got that. And then getting through the day 1 stitch at a time. We have, so I've shown before how, in fact, where's my seal? She does these little shops. So my one on Sea Opal is a library. So I've got a nice handful of little shops like that. So I bought, she's got a haunted house, oh, like a Halloween. Above the door it says Halloween. And then this raven, I just could not pass that up. Ooh, okay. Again, another Halloween fall one I couldn't pass up. It's got a black cat sitting on the front porch. Have you met Stitches? Everything black cat in this house. So we've got a, I couldn't pass this one up. This one was just too pretty. Kind of a stained glass pumpkin. And then All Things Fall. Again, another one of those little shops. All Things Fall. Stitches. Come here. And then Black Cat. Can't have enough. I just thought that one was so pretty. Again, fall, Halloween theme. And then this next one, I sent a picture of it to my friend Crystal. She's not a stitcher, but she supports everything that I do with my stitching. I sent her a screenshot of it saying, I think I need this one. If you know my projects, I have a stained glass that's a black cat. So I decided I needed to have that for my stained glass piece. So that is my needle minders from Gina's. I have more. Before I show those though, this metal sign. So you can see up here I've got something similar that's just an old, that's a rectangle, Mandy. I was gonna say oval. And then I've got 3 others on another one. I love my needle minders. That's my downfall, is needle minders. So I like these little metal signs. So one of the things that I did, this would have been in mid-August. I found out about this on TikTok and I was like, oh, I want to go. It ended up, location was a couple hours away. It was perfect. My friend Crystal and I went. It was so fun to do something different. So what this video was that it was labeled as a reverse craft fair. And it was like the whole advertising of that that you could go in and set up a booth, or, you know, do the shopping of. You know how people get into crafts, you buy all the stuff, you say, hey, I want to go, you know, you just dive in head first. Now you've got all this goods of a craft that now you've lost interest in, you're done with, you don't want to do anymore. Now you've got a closet full of stuff. What are you going to do with all that stuff that you're not using anymore? So it's like, I wonder what I could get. So we ended up going down. It was a great day. So they were set up in a church, and there was, I mean, it wasn't a huge room, but there was decent, I spent some money. There was definitely a lot of stuff that people took the idea of, let's see what I can sell, and it's old. Did I get anything cross-stitch specifically? This was the first thing that I picked. It was on a table. Gal had a bunch of beading stuff, like the friendship bracelets that are the era thing right now to do. Funny, today, October 3rd. So I got you can see 75 cents. I had to have it, because I knew it would be perfect for my needle minders. I don't think I got anything else that was cross-stitch specific though. The few things that I did see was definitely from the 80s, maybe 90s. Yellowed Ada, you know, some things of that nature. There were some partial kits that, like, it was just the floss pattern left or whatever. So I really didn't get anything stitching. I was kind of hoping that either stitching, diamond painting, or scrapbooking for junk journaling stuff. Definitely got plenty of stuff from the scrapbookers that were selling stuff. Paper, ephemera, sticker packs, you know, things of that nature. So it was worth it to go. Like I said, it was a couple of hours away. The funny part about it is that it was literally minutes. I'm talking 3 minutes from Riverside Stitching, I think is what it's called, in Monroe, Michigan. The shop that's owned by ORETM. I wanted to go so bad. I'm like, 3 minutes, I gotta go. The day before, they posted, we're closed this weekend, see you Tuesday. I was literally within minutes. So I didn't get to go. So one of these days, I'm gonna have to just go, like, plan a day, drive down there and go. But we made a day of hitting the, that sale. We ended up hitting a used bookstore, got food, got crumbled cookies. So it was a good day. Before I show the needle minders that's on that though. Jessie Marie, I already told her though. It's her fault. We're bag twins, Jessie. She showed this in a video not too long ago, and said that Vicky from Stitch and Button still had some other fabric available, so she was gonna be making more. And she said, if you want to grab a bag, we can be bag twins. So I went and bought a bag. So it's, like I said, it's from Stitch and Button. So that if you search that on Facebook, it's one of those, when things are available, she'll post and you me please, and she'll send you an invoice. So it's a really pretty zipper pull. Dead moth. So went down that rabbit hole before, and so that was one of those things of Vicky was going to be selling, making a, taking the orders now, she'd be making them at a later date, send them to, whatever. So before I knew she was sending that out, she had posted a thing of, she had needle minder packs. So there were mystery packs. You didn't know what you were gonna get, but she told you a category. So I snagged a Snarky. Is this not fitting for you now? Hello, I'm allergic to people. Aliens. Witch slap. It's a witch. Inhale good shit, exhale I can't say that. Inhale good shit, exhale bullshit. Love that one. And then I just baked you some shut the fuck up cakes. And again, it's a black cat. So I don't know if, I know Vicky from Stitch and Button now follows me here. So welcome, Vicky. I don't know if this was completely coincidence or because I had also said that I wanted the black cat. There's a black cat on here. A couple of them. So I don't know if it was because of that or if it was pure coincidence, but I just loved the fact that it also had another black cat on there. So yes, there's, looks like she's got Instagram and Facebook, so Stitch and Button. Recently, so since then, again, this is a second order. Vicky was doing a live sale through YouTube, so I was sitting there watching. Had no intentions of buying, but she got me. So I got a little Notions bag. That Aurora, I could not pass that up. So beautiful fabric. It came with a needle and there is a tiny charm in there of 2024. So, love that. And then she also had a couple needle minders. Again with the birds. Had to grab the crow. When she read this one, because she read the description of it, she even said it in the perfect tone, accent. I miss this guy. Peace, love, will, shit. It's Leslie Jordan. Right? Is that his name? Leslie. Loved the guy. So, miss him. Love that. Did I need more needle minders? No. Did I want more needle minders? Yes. That is my downfall to shopping. As I look around, I think that's everything. So yes, it's definitely more than an hour. Would not have been able to get this done on lunch break, and I didn't want to rush through. So, that's really about all I have for stitching. Yeah. Not really participating in any challenges per se at the moment outside of Gridiron Grind. Like the Facebook groups that I'm in or whatever, there's nothing specific like the arbitrary or whatever that I was doing. I know there's one about getting stuff, like finishing your projects that are close to a finish. I've definitely got a couple that I could if I actually sat down and focused on it long enough. Oh, excuse me. It is now 7 o'clock on a Friday. I have not had dinner yet. Reading though. Like I said, I have actually been doing a lot of reading. There was I ended up hopping onto a freaking Facebook with the challenges. There was a Facebook group that came up about reading and for this challenge, and you would get a free goodie. It was kind of advertised in the whole, remember when we were kids and we got the free pizzas from Pizza Hut type of thing. I don't know what the prize is. I did complete the challenge, and so I submitted my form. Haven't gotten the prize yet. But there ended up being thousands of people when she was not expecting as many participants. So I don't know if it's just going to be some bookmarks, stickers. I don't know. She hasn't said anything about the prizes. I haven't seen any pictures. But as a result of that challenge, so it was June, July, and August, part of that has gotten me to, I started getting to the point where I was reading every day. It might have just been a few minutes a day, but I've been actually reading every single day. I am now sitting at a 109-day streak, and that is the longest of a reading streak that I have had, and I couldn't tell you how long. So now I'm kind of to the point where I want to keep it up. So I ended up signing up with Kindle Unlimited again for a while. There was a particular book available that I knew that was on there that I wanted to read. So that was from Robert, I always feel like I'm gonna butcher the last name, Dugani, D-U-G-A-N-I, something like that. If you look up Crosswhite series or Tracy Crosswhite series, you'll find it. So I'm now fully caught up on that series. So the last available, I think it was number 10 or 11, was on Kindle Unlimited, so it was an easy way to read that. Detective series, so she was the whole series started out that she was it had picked up already when she was already a detective, but she had been a teacher at one point. She lost her sister, or her sister ended up becoming missing at like the age of 18. So she ended up getting the calling to go into being a police officer and detective to try to locate her missing sister. So she ended up becoming a homicide detective in that process. So each book has been about different homicides that she's investigating, whether it's been serial killers or, just whatever. I devour those books. I cannot put them down when I get started on them. So I finished up number 10 at one point. I don't remember, kind of back to back. I'm sure there's been some other books that I've read throughout the challenge and all that. But another series that I ended up picking up, talk about devouring. I've 4 books into that series now. So the author, Marie Force, she has a series. Again, it's another homicide detective, female detective, so if you look up Marie Force Fatal series, Fatal, you got to start with that series first to get the full backstory and everything. So I've already read the Fatal series handful of years ago. In fact, I don't remember now what year it was. I read the Fatal series. By the time I finally picked it up, there was like 14 or 15 books published at that point. I read 14 of those books back to back without reading anything else in between. I just devoured them. So at one point at the end of however many books, I don't remember if 15 was the last one of Fatal, same characters, she decided to change the name of the series. So it's now State of something. Basically in that process, her husband becomes into politics. So I think like the first one, State of the Union. Well, no, I think book 2 was State of the Union. You can tell where that's presidential, political, that kind of stuff. So yeah, again, homicide. I've now 4 of those books. There's currently 9 published, with the number 10 coming at the end of the year. So I don't know that I'll continue my Kindle Unlimited subscription. I did try looking to see if I can get them through Libby and Hoopla, and they're not all available through there, so I may just go back to... I ended up reading a couple of other things at the moment, but I may go back to that book, that series. I don't want to say Fatal because it's a second round, but yeah. So, good books. Can't put them down. Like I said, I've actually been reading every day for 109 days now at this point. So that's about that. I already talked about CSI. I'm excited that fall shows are starting up. I am, so The Floor it's on Fox if you have regular TV. Rob Lowe is the host of it, game show. I love him. I've gotten a new appreciation for him. I read his, I actually listened to the audiobook version because he was the one who read it. So new appreciation after reading that, and the show and all of that kind of stuff. So I'm excited to have that back. The Chicago shows started up this week, so Med Fire PD. That actually started up this week. Grey's starts next week. That show. Sometimes I wonder if that show is ever going to end, and it's like it should have, but yet back in the summertime at one point, I had like 30 some episodes on my DVR that I finally just binged, and I'm fully caught up to what's been released, so just waiting till next week now for the new season to start. Trying to think what else. That's really kind of about it that I can think of fall series wise, I guess. So yeah, things have been going good here. Like I said, just been stitching a lot. I've been spending a lot of time out at my sister's, hanging out with my dad. She's fully his caregiver, I guess. And so to give her breaks when weekends and such like that, so that she can get out of the house a little bit and not have him along or whatever. I've been going and hanging out with him while she goes and does things. So there's been a lot of times that I've been spending out diamond painting or stitching or something of that nature, that I'll just go and hang out at the house for a few hours or the day or whatever. I've stayed the night a couple of times just to, like I said, giving her a break. And yeah, so I got a weekend coming up here that I'll actually be out there for the whole weekend on dad duty, I guess, so that my brother-in-law can go out of town for a few days, so that'll be fun. Take my dad for dinner or breakfast or something, and I'm actually taking a few days off of work, so that's gonna be nice to get a break from there. I've got vacation time that I gotta use up by the end of the year, so that doesn't, I don't lose that kind of thing or whatever. And so I've got all that on the books, so I'm excited to get some time off at the end of this year. So I've got like the week of Thanksgiving off, so American Thanksgiving. I've got, so from Christmas Eve through the weekend after New Year's, I'll be off work. So I'm so excited for that. No specific plans. I'm sure I'll find something to do. Family, hang out, stay home and stitch. I don't know, maybe I'll find time at that point. That's usually a good time that I do my end of year whip parade and all that kind of stuff. So okay, I need to go find some dinner. I've rambled enough. If you've stuck around this long, thank you. Appreciate your support. Hope you've gotten lots of stitching in. If you care to share what you were working on, I'd love to hear about it. Yeah, appreciate all your support. Thanks for sticking around. Thanks for coming back after my little unplanned, unexpected hiatus. I've been stitching, just life didn't get around to stitching. So I'm gonna go get some dinner, get this uploaded at some point, and yeah, get back to stitching. Hope you're doing well. Keep stitching on what brings you joy. We'll see you again next time.